Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Mick Alphanim. So we're going to begin here with an article on Ripple.com, and it's titled Digital Asset Developments in South Korea, Balancing Innovation and Risk. Let's begin here. So South Korea's undeniable technological edge has firmly placed the country at the forefront of embracing new technology and innovations, from semiconductors and smartphones to blockchain and digital assets. I want to pause right there for a moment, okay? I'm just going to throw some thoughts here and there. Semiconductors, first thing that comes to mind, and I sort of think in pieces at times. I piece together my thoughts like a puzzle. Semiconductors, then I think China, then I think the United States, and then I remember how the United States punished China for doing certain things. I think it was because of the issues they had with Taiwan, where the United States pulled out a lot of their key scientists from China that were involved in some sort of way. I don't remember the specificity of the ways that they were integral to semiconductors, but they were, and they pulled those scientists out, and that was damaging to China. So when I hear semiconductors and I think about semiconductors, I think about how United States used the pulling of resources and scientists to punish other countries. And then I think about that in correlation with regulatory clarity. So I'm trying to bring this around full circle, okay? Regulatory clarity. This is one of the things a lot of people are not seeing. I don't know if they're looking at things with a wide enough scope, right? A lot of countries don't want to step on the toes of the United States because of that semiconductor factor where they will punish you. There's a lot of different ways that United States can punish countries, punish businesses. No one wants to step on their toes. If the United States can be injurious to such a powerful entity like China, what do you think they can do to a business, to a bank? So no, that's why the head of SBI said that there was so many companies on the side that they were waiting for. This is what the head of SBI said, so it was reputable, that they were waiting for a positive outcome to the SEC case. That's key. People have to remember that. So yes, that's one of the reasons why Ripple is staying in the United States, not to mention there's a ton of capital there that we would love to scrape up, and that would make that price explode, definitely. But also because all the rest of those businesses, not all the rest, but many of them are waiting on that, or else they will not be participating because they don't want to get punished by the United States. So when I see that and I say, oh, semiconductors, that's the first thing that I think. Okay, let's continue on here. It says, and smartphones to blockchain and digital assets. In fact, the Korea Financial Intelligence Unit found that South Korea's total market size for digital assets grew to USD 45.9 billion at the end of 2021, while the number of active users grew approximately 23%, from 5.58 million in the end of 2021 to 6.9 million in the first half of 2022. Now, let me say this also about the banking sectors globally, because we're definitely heading into a global depression. That's my humble opinion, but you look at all the charts, yeah, it signals that. They continue to say recession, but we've been in a recession. Technically, we've been in a recession for quite some time. It's not a recession. We're going into a depression. Just, hey, once again, it's my humble opinion. But how do you secure information in a time of desperation, especially we're going to a deep time of desperation, where, how do I phrase this? Where information is going to be very valuable. So you're going to have people hacking and trying to steal information all over the place. How do you secure that? Because right now, I'm going to tell you what, the banking system can't protect users' information. They haven't been. So they're terrible at that. This is one of the reasons why the new financial system is going to win. You can look all this up for yourself. Don't ever just take what I'm saying. This is just go on Google or Brave browser. I particularly like Brave browser, and do some searches, maybe even DuckDuckGo, although they're questionable now. They are, right? But do some searches on banks getting hacked, banks losing customers' information, and then customers' identities being stolen because of that information. That information is taken and sold on the dark web, right? So then people are taking loans out in customers' names, and the banks don't really own up to it. Then not only that, then we covered articles here before where it shows you that when certain things happen, the banks are supposed to abide by certain laws, right? And pay the customers certain monies when, it's the bank's fault that something occurred. They haven't been doing that completely, right? Hey, the article said that, not me, right? So then you look at the protection of capital. How do you protect your capital now in a world where the banking system is a house of cards And you're not sure if your capital, you're going to be able to access your capital. I mean, of course, look, they're going to take care of certain people. We did see that certain entities were able to pull out large amounts of capital out of these banks before they collapsed, right? Right. So those people may not have a problem. However, the regular average day person, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, such definitely have to worry about that capital. We want to make sure that capital is flowing. We want to live good lives. So you have a place like Korea, part of the global financial system. They're going to look to the new financial system. This is my point. They're going to look to the new financial system. Why do you think that Ripple is so deep in some of these regions over there? Ripple's deep over there. Stellar is deep. Algorand is deep, and that entirety of that region over there, because the rest of the world understands, hey, we may need to deploy the new financial system any day now. They're preparing themselves for rapid deployment. When that time comes, who knows? I don't know. I don't proclaim to know. I just know they're readying themselves. I know what it looks like when someone's readying themselves. They're focused. They're concentrating. They're rapidly trying to develop regulatory clarity, regulations. They're rapidly, a lot of these places are trying to make themselves the crypto hubs. You look at United Arab Emirates saying, hey, listen, we want to be the crypto hub. Then you have some place in the UK saying, hey, we want to be the crypto hub. Then you have China saying, hey, we want to be the crypto hub. You know, so now let's go here. Okay, it says the growth of the sector has made it more imperative than ever for South Korean regulators and policymakers to establish regulatory clarity for digital assets in order to ensure consumer protection and risk management requirements are addressed. Listen, this is not about their customers at all. This is about them. The banks are scared. They're shook in their boots. They know their days are numbered. Just my humble opinion. Not all banks, but a lot of them are in jeopardy, and their tentacles are stretched out so far that they spread themselves thin. They don't know where the black swan is going to come from. There's so many black swans flying around right now. They don't know when the next black swan is going to occur. It's just a matter of watching the catalyst, but you have to be very, very careful. We're talking about capital here, folks. So this is why you see the rapid development of smart contracts. Listen, we're going to cover an article about Stellar in a little bit, but you see how all of these companies are developing smart contract capability. That's for control. That's for the banks, the commercial, mostly central banks. Why? Because they want that type of control to stop a bank run. You saw what Circle did? That's what they want to do. I mean, Coinbase, sorry about that, Circle, Coinbase, same thing, really, right? They want the ability to press a button, stop that bank run. Press a button and extract those funds from your account. They want that capability. They don't really have that right now. They have to jump through a bunch of hoops. So they want the new financial system badly. They are scared. Of course, you do have opponents. Of course, you're always going to have an opposite. Everything has an equal opposite, right? We will deal with them. But most of the banking system is ready to congeal. But you can't get around waiting for the United States, who will punish you, to make a decision, right? I don't know if that came out eloquently, but I'm giving you my raw thoughts at this particular time. So now let's continue on here. It says, while the intent of the policy is sound, its broad scope for implementation has meant that almost all entities offering solutions using digital assets are brought under regulatory scrutiny, even if they are not VASPs. To date, only 5 entities in South Korea have met the requirements for full licensing, and over 60 entities have had to cease operations altogether. The result seems to be that firms onshore have become more cautious about dealing with digital assets, which has implications on innovation in the sector. Yes, well, just my humble thoughts. That really has to do with regular crypto. And they're going to be very cautious about dealing with regular crypto, not the bank coins. The bank coins have been able to go into regions and shake hands with some of their presidents, leaders, some of the CEOs, COOs of some of the biggest, traditional financial system entities, and make deals with them, build infrastructures for them, have them test out digital sandboxes. So there's clearly not a lot of pushback against the bank coins, but there is a lot of pushback against regular crypto. Regular crypto, most of them are going to go away. That's what this is about. Right now, they are destroying and trying to squeeze out regular crypto. They're putting them to the test, and a lot of them are not going to make it. You've already seen a lot of them not make it. So that's what this is about. And all that will be left standing, my humble opinion, will be the bank coins. That's it. The bank coins as you could say a new portion of the legacy system. You know, I don't know how else to phrase that, but that's it. They are the accepted ones, the chosen ones, as some like to say. So now let's move on here. All right. Ripple continues to do a great job. So let's move on to a little bit of Algorand news. Algorand continues to become an absolute beast. I love it. I want them to continue to improve. This is from developer.algorand.org, right? It says, what's new in Algorand 3.15.0? So they have this new release here. Let's read a little bit about it. With this release, Algorand is introducing a new simulate REST endpoint that enhances contract evaluation by using live chain data to simulate either one or multiple grouped transactions. State changes are reflected with atomic groups of transactions. This means when using simulate to perform unit tests, setting up state can most likely be done once and multiple tests executed against the state data. Additionally, when moving to environments such as testnet and mainnet, you can execute against live chain data without actually permanently altering the blockchain. This improves debugging capabilities and also has the added benefit of exposing method calls against a smart contract with no transaction fees. As with all transactions, calling a smart contract requires that a transaction fee be paid for the transaction. However, with the simulate REST endpoint, the transaction is never actually issued to the network, thereby avoiding the transaction fee while still returning live chain state data. Look how powerful they're becoming. They're making sure that you can still save money, but you can still use everything to the fullest of its potentiality. Algorand is a very, very smart blockchain, 100%. This is going to be great for the banks like the Central Bank of Italy, all of those insurance companies and a myriad of other banks that are utilizing Algorand, in my humble opinion, that definitely want to utilize the absolute best smart contract capability. And I'm going to tell you what. So you see Algorand's doing this with their smart contracts, making sure they're in tip-top shape. You have Stellar doing this, making sure their smart contracts were in tip-top shape, which we're going to discuss in a moment. You have XDC. So they're all making sure they're the absolute best. While all the other regular cryptos are resting on their laurels, the bank coins continue to improve every single day. Why? Because they want to bring in more banks. They want central banks and commercial banks, public and private, to utilize them. And the banks are saying, listen, if we're going to be trusting you and using your platforms, we need to know that we're going to be a cut above the rest. Don't keep in mind, even though banks are a part of a system, they all are in competition with each other. They want to be the best. They want to bring in the capital. They want to experience the boom that is to happen when the new financial system is rolled out. Let's move on here. A little bit more Algorand news. They're doing a lot. So this is from Folks Finance. It says, skip the middleman. Fiat to crypto directly with DeFi. Fiat on-ramp now live on app.folks.finance. Make deposits on Folks Finance using a credit/debit card or bank transfer, thanks to our integration with @ALGO wallet, which was the original wallet that was like the main wallet on Algorand long time ago. That I remember a lot of people using it, never really had any problems. Anyway, yeah, this is really, really good. So now you can make deposits with a credit debit card. Algorand continues to become better. Then we have this article here. Actually, it's a tweet from Velo, getting into a little bit of Stellar news now. And Velo says this: Thailand/crypto/FX community event summary. We held an exclusive event in Thailand recently for crypto and FX traders. This unique event showcased the current perpetuals and OTC capabilities of #universe for crypto/FX trading. This is going to be very, very good. Velo's bringing a lot of traffic. A lot of volume, potentially. I'm not saying they're doing it now. Let me rephrase that. But they have the potential to bring a lot of value and volume to the Stellar blockchain. This is very good. Now, listen, there's a lot of individuals who have been moving to Thailand from the West. listen, that entire region over there, a lot of people are moving to that region to start businesses. There's going to be a lot of cross-border payments between family members, business to business, business to person, B2B, P2P, things like that, B2P. And so there's going to be a lot of capital over there. Not only that, but remember, Velo, EveryNet, LightNet, their whole goal is to replace SWIFT in that region. Never forget that. So then that has the implications of, hey, listen, they're definitely going to have banks running across them. At some point, they have to. If they want to replace SWIFT, you're going to have banks running across you. I think a lot of this we're going to see occur in the future. They've been developing at a pretty good pace, but little by little you climb the mountain. But this is a great step here. Educate the people. There are probably going to be some businesses brought in because of this. I mean, listen, I'm just speculating here, but everything is looking good. Velo continues to do a good job. So now let's go here. A little bit more Stellar news here. So they released this blog here on stellar.org, or post rather. It's about Soroban. It says Soroban Stellar Love. Okay. And it says Soroban will, first bullet point, open up more decentralized innovation on the network by eliminating the need to rely on protocol level changes. In other words, they're making everything easier. But easier for who? Who have been the big ones utilizing Stellar? MoneyGram, the United Nations, right? Which they just had a whole lot of things going on with their refugee program and providing aid to people that are in need, such, right? Bankhaus von der Haidt. Listen, there's a lot of capital that may flow through Stellar. And the easier you make that possible to utilize the blockchain, to deploy on the blockchain, the greater the possibility of more businesses saying, hey, we might want to use Stellar. Now, don't get me wrong. Stellar's already delicious to business because it's so easy to deploy anything on Stellar. And you're in control of everything, right? I mean, it's so decentralized. It's unbelievable. However, the continued push forward as far as easeability of use has been tremendously good. And they're doing a great job with Soroban. Let's read this next bullet point here. This is my humble opinion. It says, next bullet point, provide even more financial opportunities to the underserved and unbanked populations, which also goes hand in hand with either small to medium businesses or banks or whoever wants to build on Stellar that's going to be providing these wallets and services by deploying some sort of offering on Stellar. So then that still comes down to more volume and value. I mean, tell me if you think differently, right? I'm always open to hearing your thoughts and such like that. People have a lot of good thoughts out there. But yeah, I don't think you can escape that. The more opportunities that you have for the underserved and unbanked, that means there have to be more things deployed, which would bring more value and volume, which definitely could trigger surge price and definitely could increase that price over time. Right now, globally, Stellar has done a phenomenal job of having corridors all around the world, businesses deploying on Stellar all around the world. And I'm interested to see how many people they're going to actually have using this, especially on the ground. And you know what, listen. I'm interested to see what happens when there's regulatory clarity in the United States. I think Stellar is going to dominate. I really do, because they have this mentality, and we're going to see if they walk it like they talk it. But they have this mentality of we want to help the underbanked as well as the unbanked. Listen, there's a ton of underbanked people in the United States still using check cashers and such like that. So what I believe should happen, I don't know if it is, but all of the different impoverished neighborhoods, Stellar should be deep in there. Advertisements, having different offerings and stuff, letting people know how to use this particular service. That's a lot of capital to scrape up. It'll be beneficial for the people because they won't have any transaction fees. They have these wallets. Maybe you have some offerings on Stellar where you have an actual card that you can use in correlation with some kind of non-banking financial institution. Usually people use like MasterCard to combine with, or Visa. You know how that usually goes. But the people can use it. It's going to be better for the people, and it'll be better for the Stellar blockchain. Definitely could help that XLM price go up, in my humble opinion. They've done a good job at that. And what they mean by fun is that you definitely don't want the technology to be boring, because it's a little bit more difficult for people to learn who are taking on an extra workload as it is, especially when you're working with like United Nations, you're working with certain central banks, you're working with certain governmental entities, commercial banks. You know, that entire financial system in the Ukraine, as an example, they already have an initial workload. So now they're taking on something extra to be able to in order to utilize. the distributed ledger technologies. So you want to make it as easy as possible and maybe even keep it a little bit interesting. So now we have an article here and it's titled Smaller Regional Bank Loans by the Numbers. Who may be the most affected? So let's read this little tidbit here. And it goes as such. Smaller / regional banks hold around 18% of all outstanding debt, but their share across the market varies. Some areas where they lend the most, such as commercial real estate and consumer loans, are most likely to be affected by bank failures in the space, according to UBS. The Federal Reserve's latest senior loan officer opinion survey showed that credit officers expected further net tightening through 2023 in commercial real estate, smaller commercial and industrial loans, and credit cards, UBS notes, adding that, quote, the latest bank failures will likely worsen the severity of the tightening. UBS analysts, including Matthew Mish, found that banks with assets of $250 billion or less hold around 39% of commercial real estate debt, 30% of other loans, and 25% of consumer loans, in addition to 11% of commercial loans and industrial loans, and 15% of mortgages. It says digging further into these sectors, the smaller regional banks hold around 55% of traditional commercial real estate loans and 48% of construction / development loans compared to 22% of multifamily loans. Within consumer loans, the banks hold around 36% in credit card debt versus 15% in auto loans. In commercial and industrial loans, they are larger players in the business and small business loans with approximately 47% share. Quote, these are the key areas where credit supply could be most disrupted in our view, unquote, UBS said. The bank also added that, quote, a key risk is if the aggressive tightening spills over from bank to non-bank markets, akin to during the global financial crisis. As recently, we've seen less evidence of tightening in non-bank lending standards based on our proxy for commercial and industrial debt. Incidentally, the S&P 500 financial sector turned around as Thursday's session wore on and was last up 2% with regional banks outperforming. The KBW Regional Banking Index was up 3.9%. Of the Fed's first interest rate hikes and the lagged effect of tightening financial conditions is pressuring economically sensitive sectors of the economy. As WF2 sees it, households' confidence in executing their spending plans intuitively goes hand in hand with their sense of security in their incomes and financial resources. Therefore, the increase in financial stress likely adds downward pressure on economic growth. All right, so now let's move on to another article here. So this article here is from Cointelegraph.com and is titled India UAE to explore CBDC bridge to facilitate trade remittances without the US dollar. I try to tell people, here we go. The bridge would be the second for the UAE, whose bank successfully participated in the M-Bridge project last year with Hong Kong, China, and Thailand. Hold on. Now keep in mind who's deep in the UAE. Hedera is deep in the UAE. Ripple is deep in the UAE. I think ALGO has some skin in the game also over there. The Reserve Bank of India and the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates announced on March 15th that they had signed a memorandum of understanding on collaboration and innovation in financial services. The parties, let me not forget. I forgot. How'd you guys let me forget? Quant. Remember they chose Quant to run one of their main infrastructures over there? Unbelievable. So Quant also has skin in the game over there as well. That could be huge. Let me just say could be huge. We will see. It says the parties will particularly concentrate on central bank digital currency interoperability. I told you they lack it. They don't have it. That's why they have to concentrate on it. That's why they're constantly talking about interoperability, because they haven't achieved it yet. And which is why I believe, this is my humble opinion, that Ripple, Hedera, and Quant and Algorand will thrive all across the world because of their interoperability. Let's continue on here. Such a bridge would reduce costs and increase efficiency of transactions, they noted, and strengthen economic ties. Indian and UAE banking officials held talks in February on a rupee dirham payment system using correspondent banks. That system has been under development for a year. The countries currently The country's currently US dollars. Oh, yeah. OK, so they negated to put use. My apologies. Currently use US dollars to settle payments. Although remittances from the Gulf region are down 50% from 2016-2017, the UAE remains a major source of remittances to India, accounting for 17-18% of the total around $87 billion as of July 2022. All right, so now, so we have all of that going on. It's unbelievable how fast the new financial system is taking form, taking shape. And once again, there's a reason why all the bank coins are getting into these key positions in regions that are looking to dominate, to shirk the US dollar. They will not be using SWIFT. And I think the banking system globally, not just in the United States will move a little bit slower, in my opinion. That's just how they do. But globally, the banking system as we know it now will not be the banking system of the future. I think the new financial system will absolutely dominate. But that's just my humble opinion. Let's move on here. This article is from Reuters.com and is titled, Gold Pauses Rally. Traders Seek Clarity. Banking Crisis 2023. Okay, let's read this little tidbit here. Gold prices edged higher on Thursday, bouncing towards last session's 1.5-month peak as concerns about the banking crisis continue after the European Central Bank hiked interest rates despite the ongoing financial stability risks. Spot gold was up 0.1% at $1,919.31 per ounce by 1:53 p.m. after jumping to its highest since early February at $1,937.28 on Wednesday. Yeah, I called it. It's going to go down as people have retreated to it for safety. And as they become more comfortable, they're going to extract some of that capital to play with. Obviously, I think that's just logical. But yeah, I saw that coming. U.S. gold futures settled 0.4% lower to $1,923 per ounce. Ignoring financial market chaos and calls by investors to dial back policy tightening, at least until markets stabilize. Wow, that's unbelievable. The European Central Bank raised interest rates by 50 basis points on Thursday. Quote, the ECB did surprise the market with a 50 basis point hike. It is a little unsettling. That's that's the energy I just tried to convey. Like, that's disturbing. You know, they have this energy where they don't care about the people, but they're making it felt, making it visible. I don't know, folks. These beings here, these heads of banks, they are getting a little bit more cold-hearted. Another reason why I feel like the people will possibly use the bank coins and offerings on the bank coin DLTs, wallets, debit, credit cards on those things in the future. I think they will use them outright. I think a lot of people are getting tired of the banking system. The banking system is so arrogant. They don't care that they're crossing the people anymore. It's a little unsettling because the reason banks are in trouble is because of rates rising too fast, said Jim Wyckoff, senior analyst at Kitco Metals. Sorry about that. My apologies. Quote, we are seeing continued safe haven demand for gold with elevated anxiety in the marketplace over this banking crisis. Investors' focus will now shift to next week's U.S. Federal Reserve policy meeting, with markets largely expecting the U.S. Central Bank to raise rates 25 basis points. While bullion is considered a hedge against economic uncertainties, because it is, higher rates increase the opportunity cost of holding the non-yielding asset, helping bullion further were losses in broader financial markets as shares, bonds, and the dollar fell. So once again, that's on Reuters.com. If you want to read the rest of that article, make sure to check them out. They've been doing an okay job over there. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Right now, I'm going to go lay down. I've been a little bit under the weather. My apologies. So until next time, let's get to the money.